who doesn't love Italian cuisine? I love Italian food, and today on Cooking with Chef Bryan, I've got a treat for you. It's Italian calzones filled with cheese. I'll show you how to put them together and get them started coming up right now on Cooking with Chef Bryan. If you've ever been to Italy, it's like this tour of food. I mean, that not only great sights, but the food is amazing. And of course, Italian calzones, one of those amazing foods I love when I'm over there. But I wanted to show you something a little tricky, maybe a little clever, that I'm actually going to fill them with. It's cheese. Now for the holidays, I don't know if any of you happen to have any leftover cheese balls. Well, I do. So we're going to use the cheese balls to actually fill the calzones with the cheese filling. Because if you think about it, they're just cream cheese and a cheddar cheese in there, maybe some spices and herbs. And mine on the outside have bacon, or you could have nuts. It depends on whatever you have, you choose, but it's an easy way to use up some of those perhaps leftovers that you may have. Now we're going to start off with the dough. Making a pizza dough is very easy, and the dough that I'm showing you is just my basic pizza dough. It's very, very simple to put together, and I think it is just spot on every time. I don't know how to say that. So we're starting with flour. I use seasoned salt in mine because it has onion powder and garlic powder, has some paprika in there. So it has all these other flavors in there. Now also I'm using an instant yeast because instant yeast you don't need to actually dissolve in water to reactivate them. So instant yeasts are yeast that, for example, are used in bread machines, and you can buy them in the grocery store. They may say bread machine yeast or instant yeast. They're just not the dry active yeast. And so that's important because if you're using a dry active yeast, you need to dissolve that first in some water. And so what I'd recommend is the water that goes into the recipe, dissolve the yeast into it, and then add it into the flour mixture itself. Then you could use it that way. Now I'm going to add the water right into the flour there. And we're going to add in some oil. Now I like to use an extra virgin olive oil in this because I like the flavor. It has a good flavor to it. And we're going to add about a half a cup to it. There we go. And as many times as I've measured, I'll bet you I'm pretty accurate on that measurement there. Now, if you so choose, you can add some Italian seasoning to it. Whatever you want to actually spice up the dough, that is fine. And so this is now ready to go. Put the lid on, and we're going to get this mixing up and going. Now I know I'm going to get some emails and some text messages and some direct messages on Instagram. What is the machine I'm using? This is an old school Bosch machine. Now I've had this for, without giving away my age, a few decades, let's say that. And it keeps working great and doing a great job. And so you'll get that turned on, get that mixing, and let that dough actually proof and rise once it needs for about 7 to 10 minutes. For about 2 hours you'll let it rise on there, which I have some that is already finished and risen and ready to go. So once you get that done, I kind of love that. It's like through the magic of TV, the dough is all ready to go. How's that? So this dough is ready to go. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to portion out some for the calzones. Now, however large, however small you want to make them, that is up to you. So I'm going to do them kind of in individual servings, basically guessed on what I would like portion-wise. And so this dough here will make anywhere from 4 to 6 calzones. So it's up to you how large or small you want to make them, but that's kind of the way that I like to gauge them out. Now on your work surface here, you can use some flour if you need to. Roll those out on some flour. If it's a little sticky, this dough is just really easy to work with though. It generally doesn't require a lot of flour. So we're just going to get this rolled out here, and I want you to notice how I'm rolling this. So I roll a little bit, roll it out, pick it up, rotate it so it's not sticking onto the surface. Now when dough starts to stick, you're not going to get a real how should I say, genuine rollout, because it'll stick, and as soon as you lift that up, it's going to go whoosh and spring right back. It's kind of like the cinnamon roll curse. I don't know if you've ever seen that. When you go to roll out cinnamon rolls, and if you forget to lift it up from the counter, as soon as you start to roll those up, the dough goes whoop and shrinks, and so you don't get this real measurement for the cinnamon rolls of getting that rolled out. So anyway, hope you understood what I meant there. All right, so I'm rolling this out, and this rolling pin that I'm using is called the fluted rolling pin. It just means it's fluted, so there's no sharp edges on it. It's not just one solid one. It actually tapers down to an edge, and this is so I don't crimp the edges when I go over them of the dough. And so that's just a pastry rolling pin. You certainly don't have to have one of those to actually do this. It's very simple. Now you're going to roll this out into a round circle, just like that. And I like to roll it out to, oh, I don't know, that's probably about a 1/4 inch to maybe an 1/8 inch side, a little bit towards the little skinnier side, thick. Because when you fold it over on itself, you're going to have that much more dough on top of it. So that's kind of an important way to think about that. So I've got that one rolled out. I'm going to roll out another one here. Also, I have my oven nice and preheated, and it is preheated to 500 degrees. So you want this nice and hot so that these will get nice and golden brown in there. So the dough is getting rolled out here. We have our filling ready to go here. The oven's preheated. We're going to keep working on these when we come back after this quick break, and we're going to have a little taste of Italy in the kitchen today. Don't go away.
As summer comes into full swing, it's time to fire up the grill and treat your family to a special outdoor meal featuring everyone's favorite Klondike brand potatoes. Enjoy preparing one of our many chef-inspired recipes from the web, or create your own backyard culinary masterpiece using varieties from the full line of Klondike potatoes. Visit KlondikeBrands.com today for hundreds of recipe ideas and make your summers sizzle with Klondike Brands.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cooking with Chef Bryan. I'm in here. I feel like I need to have some Italian aria music in the background because we're making Italian calzones if you're just joining me. But I'm rolling out another dough here, so I'll have 3 of the calzones ready to go. And in my oven, like I was telling you earlier, it is preheated, but it also has my pizza stone in it. Now, the pizza stone is so important, and I would just recommend to any of you, go invest in a good pizza stone because you will use it the rest of your life. You want a thicker one, so about 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick on there. A lot of them you buy in the store, you know, they're maybe a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch thick. They're really quite thin, and they will break very easily. They crack very easily. So I like to get the thicker ones on there so that they will cook in the oven. One of the other side effects that they do is they even out the heat in the oven because it's a ceramic brick essentially, and when it starts to radiate heat, it'll take care of any of those cold spots you've got in the oven. So there's a little tip for you why you need to go get one. So go get you a nice thick pizza stone. You can find them online. I think I bought mine on Amazon or something like that, so it's easy to find them. Okay, now once you get these all rolled out, notice that I'm lifting them up, making sure they're not sticking to the counters, because when I go to fold them over with the filling in there, I don't want them to go and shrink back up there, and I call that the cinnamon roll curse, so to speak. Now, this is the cheese ball. I just thought this was great because I was thinking the other day, how am I going to use these cheese balls? You know, all the parties are over, the neighbors don't want any more. I still have these cheese balls and I don't want them to go to the waste because I'm going to tell you, cheese balls are not inexpensive to make. So I thought, oh, we're going to put them in some calzones here and have some fun with a little taste of Italy in the kitchen. So now I'm just scooping some out, and this is probably equivalent of a 1/4 cup to 1/3 of a cup worth of cheese that's going in there. And like I was saying earlier, that the cheese itself is cream cheese. The cheese ball is cream cheese, it's shredded cheese, cheddar cheese, it has herbs and spices in it, and then I've rolled these have cooked bacon, crispy bacon on the outside, which are really, really good. So let's just add some more here. And what I kind of do is I kind of spread it out, as you can see, that cheese. So, it's, you know, almost to the end of that. I've got about a 1/2 inch of the dough that I can use to seal that around, because if you make them too just much in the middle, I think that they just kind of lack a little bit. So you got to have a little more filling in there so that it has a nice, spectrum of flavor. So when you go to cut it open, you got some nice cheese filling in there. So any really kind of cheese that you want to fill this with, you can. You could use just shredded cheddar cheese if you wanted to in there. But I think the cream cheese adds a nice flavor to it and a consistency. Now some of these will have ricotta cheese in them. I think ricotta is pretty, what's a good word? Flimsy, I don't know. It just doesn't have a lot of texture like American cream cheese does. So I prefer using the cream cheese in there. Okay, so once you get them in there, you're just gonna fold that top right over. Just kind of seal that down. Fold the top over, there you go. Fold the top over, there you go. And then we're going to play, I don't know, campfire cooked dinners. I don't know. Do you guys go on any camping trips when you're younger? That's exactly how we're going to do it. Pretend like this is a parchment dinner, and we're going to fold the edges around like you would a piece of parchment paper that has a dinner in there that you're going to cook on the fire or whatever. So once you do that, you're going to take this end, you're going to fold it over, then you're going to just keep folding it over. Make sure that that doesn't sneak up on you. It stays out there, that edge. And you're just going to begin to fold it over onto itself. And I know my hand is in the way, so as you can see, as you fold it over, just fold this one over again on top of it. So you're basically rolling it around that edge, all the way around, so that you get a nice edge on there. And when you get to the very next corner over here, take it, fold it in, and press it down so that it is sealed. Okay, so there's one calzone that is ready to go. So let's do another one here. So I'm going to take this corner here, fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, and I'm folding the edge over as I go on itself so that it self-seals. Now, is this foolproof? No. It may be sometimes that it comes out in the oven. So if you want, you can put them on a parchment paper, you can put them on a pizza shell, if you don't want it boiling potentially out on your pizza stone. Now I've come to the other corner here. I'm going to take it, fold it over, and press it down so that it seals. So there's the next one ready to go. Let's just do one more here. Fold and fold and fold. This is where the Italian arias need to come in. Oh, sole mio. All right. That's really more of an art song, but shh, don't tell anybody. Fold that over here. Fold it over. Fold it over. And once we get to that other edge there, just kind of fold that over and press it down. Now this dough, is it going to brown or isn't it going to brown? That's the question of the century. I'll explain it when we come back after the break here, what to do with the dough.
It's no secret, frozen rolls are fresher than bakery rolls. You see, bakery rolls are made in commercial bakeries. Then they sit all day in stores. Some even contain preservatives because rolls begin to stale immediately. By the time you eat your roll, it could already be days old. Rhodes Bake and Serve is found in your grocer's freezer. Simply take Rhodes frozen roll dough home and let it thaw and rise in a pan. Bake Rhodes rolls in your own oven. Rhodes Bake and Serve, hot and fresh, right out of your oven.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cooking with Chef Bryan. It's a little taste of Italy today in the kitchen as I show you how to put together some Italian calzones using cheese for the filler. You can use any type of filler you want. There could be meat in there if you wanted. You could use cheese in there. You could use just vegetable if you wanted to. It's really up to you, and I think that this is the versatility of a calzone. You can fill it with anything that you want to, and so have some fun, be creative, use your favorite fillings. I'm just happy to be using cheese in there because I had leftover cheese balls from the holidays, and it's a great way to use those up. And it'll be delicious in there anyway. So we were talking about the dough when we left there, and I was asking, do you think this dough is going to brown up? And the answer really is no. Now, why is that? Because there's not a lot of sugar in there. Now, there's the natural sugars that the yeast will break down the starches into some glucose and CO2, etc., etc., etc. But as fact as adding sugar into it, there's not a lot of sugar in there. So it's not going to brown. So how do we remedy that in the kitchen when we want to have dough that's going to brown? Well, we're going to use an egg wash because the egg wash has actually, believe it or not, a lot of sugars in there. And so it's going to brown up nicely when we brush them with the egg wash. Now, before I do that though, just for mess purposes here, I wanted to talk about pizza pans. So here's one type of pizza pan, a round one, perforated bottom here. This is supposed to allow the air to circulate around so you get a nice crispy bottom on there. Do they work? That's about kind of my inclination to tell you honestly. It's like, Well, the reason why is, the reason you have like a soggy bottom if you ever do pizzas or things like that is because there's not enough heat on the bottom immediately. It doesn't cook that, rather it steams the bottom of that dough. So you get that kind of soggy dough on there. So that's kind of important to realize, and that's why with the pizza stone, I actually just put them right on top of the pizza stone. So it's very simple. I'm just going to use this for purposes of going to the oven, using it kind of like as a tray to go to the oven, and we're going to put these calzones right on there. But we're going to come back now and we're going to take our pastry brush and we're going to just give them a nice brushing with an egg wash. Now, an egg wash is nothing more than an egg, about a tablespoon of water, give or take a little bit in there. So very, very simple. Just give that a little brush there, and that's going to give it that beautiful golden brown when it cooks up there. Do you know what? I'll do just half of this larger one so that you can see the difference. And that's important because it does make a difference when you want that nice golden brown top in your bread. If you notice that it's really not doing that and you want that, you want an egg wash on there. And there are many types of washes. I mean, there's a baking soda wash, there's a salt wash, there's just a milk wash. I mean, there's a lot of different washes, but the egg is going to do really well for you. Now, what you can do is sprinkle some flavorings on top. So I have some roasted garlic here. Little granulated garlic, put that on there. And then I thought, oh, this will be really good with some Italian seasonings on top. So that's a simple other way that you can add flavor to it, is by sprinkling some flavors on top. And you can do any kind of flavorings. I just thought, oh, these are pretty Italian, let's do this. Okay, so we'll just put that onto there. Okay. Now these are ready to go into the oven and bake off. Now these will take approximately 25 minutes, 20 minutes. You're going to have to gauge it accordingly to your own oven. Every oven is different. You know, I wish that wasn't the case. We can put a man on the moon, but for whatever reason, we can't seem to make an oven that is consistent. So really pay attention to your own oven there and gauge it accordingly. Remember, recipes are merely guidelines. They're just guidelines. So in the recipe, it'll say, you know, about 20 minutes in the oven. Gauge it accordingly to your oven. So these are now ready to go into the oven. Have some fun with that. Oh, I was going to show you one other tip here. Just kind of take that and tap that down so that the egg wash covers up the Italian seasoning. And if you need to, you can take that and just kind of dollop that on there, because if you have those dry herbs right on top, they could burn in the oven. You could also just spray it with some vegetable oil if you wanted to help prevent those from burning into the oven. So we'll put this, remember, I gotta remember only half of that one so you can see the difference. And these are now ready to go in the oven. So when we come back, we're gonna finish these off with a great dipping sauce. It's a little taste of Italy, and we'll finish it up when we come back. Are you looking for some delicious side dishes for dinner? Well, why not try Green Giant Fresh Minute Mashes? They're simple, they come in 3 different flavors for your dinner, and all you have to do is put them in the microwave, 7 minutes, pop them out, smash them in the bag, and serve them. It doesn't get any simpler than that. The calzones are done. I just took them out of the oven. Oh, it smells amazing. I can't wait for you all to make this at home because you're gonna love them. Like I said, I'm just using my pizza platter as my tray, going to and from the oven. And these are now coming out. And I wanted to show you particularly the one that we only did half of the egg wash on, because that's important to see. So you can see, obviously, this is the half that had the egg wash. It's shiny, it's nice and brown. This one is brown over here, but it's not quite as shiny as the egg wash. And so that's why we do the egg wash, so we get that beautiful contrast, shiny, nice brown color. Now I want to just cut these open, and I'm going to serve them with 2 different dipping sauces. These are great to dip in things. I have just a marinara sauce. Use your favorite marinara sauce. And of course, being from Utah, what kind of a Utah Intermountain West kid would I be without ranch? And you got to say it like that. It's some good old ranch dressing. Gonna cut these open, enjoy them. They are so hot right now, so I'm just gonna let them cool a little bit so that we can enjoy to dip them into there. So thanks everybody for joining me to learn a little bit of Italian cuisine today. Some Italian calzones, cheese filled. You can use any type of filling that you want. Head on over to cookingwithchefbryan.com for the recipe, and I always enjoy seeing you out and about. And as always, guys, thanks for saying hi when you see me. I'll see you all next time.
You can find all of these complete recipes on my website, cookingwithchefbryan.com.